Lin Zhao Zhao. Why the hell don't you just die? When a bucket of ice water was poured over my head, my mind was still replaying the last math class my high school teacher had taught. He said, "You're about to take the college entrance exam. Once you get to college, it'll be much easier." I believed him back then. I lowered my head and secretly folded a paper star under my desk, tucking it into the glass bottle that was already half full. That star is the 520th one. I counted. I thought that after the college entrance exam, when Lucy and I walked through the gates of the same university together, I would give him this jar of stars and tell him that I had been folding them for a full 6 years since the first year of junior high, with a sentence written inside each star. It was only later that I realized how unbearably cheesy those words were. Things like, "Today you explained another math problem to me. You're amazing. What you play so beautifully. What we should always be together. That water is so cold. So cold it made my whole body tremble from the bone-deep chill. My hair sticking to my face in strands. Water droplets dripping from my chin into my collar, turning the white shirt of my school uniform translucent. I instinctively raised my arm to block it, and my elbow slammed into the metal cabinet beside me with a dull thud. The pain made me gasp sharply. All around me, laughter erupted. I knew that kind of laughter all too well. Throughout the 3 years of high school, we were in the same class. Every time someone was called on by the teacher and couldn't answer, this exact kind of laughter would break out from below. It wasn't out of goodwill, but it wasn't malicious either, just a bunch of 17 or 18-year-old kids who saw something exciting and instinctively joined in the commotion. Only this time, I was the one surrounded by the crowd, being watched as entertainment. I slowly raised my head. The person standing in front of her was Lucy. He was more than a head taller than me, wearing a black hooded sweatshirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows, revealing a section of blue veins on his forearms. His hand still held the posture of splashing water, with long, graceful fingers and clearly defined knuckles. I remembered that in winter, I used to love slipping my hands into the pockets of his school uniform, and he would clasp my hands tightly like that, his palms' warmth making my ears turn red. His hands were truly beautiful. I stared at that hand for 2 seconds, and an absurd thought suddenly popped into my mind. Those hands had just handed me a cup of soy milk this morning. Red bean flavored. I hate anything with red bean flavor. He likes it, so he always buys 2 cups of the same kind. I've complained to him for 3 years, but he never changed. This morning, when he shoved the soy milk into my hand, water droplets were still hanging on the plastic bag. I said, "Lucy, you bought red bean again." He said, "Drink it if you like." With the same tone as usual. Exactly the same as usual. So when exactly did things start to change? Zhao Zhao, don't blame me. Lucy casually tossed the wash basin onto the floor. The metal basin spun twice before coming to a stop, emitting a harsh, grating sound. He brushed off non-existent dust from his hands, then looked down at me, who was crouched on the floor. There was something in his eyes that I couldn't quite understand. It wasn't guilt, nor was it heartache. It felt more like a sense of relief after completing some task. Sitting on the edge of the bed behind him was a girl. Her name was Shen Tingwan. She transferred here in her 2nd year of high school, ranked first in the liberal arts grade, could play the guzheng, write calligraphy with a brush, always spoke softly, and when she smiled, her eyes curved like crescent moons. Our homeroom teacher had praised her several times during class meetings, saying that Shen Tingwan had the aura of a classical talented woman. She is truly beautiful. The kind of beauty that neither men nor women can find fault with. Her skin is so fair it seems to glow, and her long hair is dark and straight, cascading down like a waterfall when let loose. Right now, she's sitting on the edge of Lucy's bed, swinging her legs back and forth, wearing a pair of white canvas shoes with the laces tied into bows. She's holding one of Lucy's pillows in her arms, resting her chin on it, and watching me quietly. Her expression is calm, even carrying a polite smile. As if the person crouching on the floor isn't a living being who's just been splashed with water, but a painting she's meant to appreciate. I've already said it. Lu Si's voice came from above my head. Deliberately amplified as if meant for everyone to hear. Only Shen Tingwan and I share a soulful connection. Do you understand? You've been clinging to me since we were kids. And I'm utterly sick of you. Don't you have any self-awareness? Another wave of laughter erupted from the crowd. I crouched on the ground, water dripping from my hair onto the tiled floor of the dorm, spreading into a small dark stain. I propped my hands on my knees and slowly stood up, my knees feeling a bit weak, whether from the cold or something else. I didn't know. After standing, I realized there were at least 7 or 8 people around me holding up their phones. All lenses pointed at me like a row of dark, menacing gun barrels. The dorm door was wide open, and the hallway was crowded with people, some standing on tiptoe to peek inside. Others holding up their phones as if live streaming. Guys, look. Lu Si has turned against his childhood sweetheart watching the haircut live. Haircut. I instinctively touched my own hair. My hair is very long, grown from childhood to now, reaching down to my waist. My mom said that when I was little, I was extremely protective of my hair, crying for a long time even when just getting bangs trimmed. Lu Si used to like my hair too. Every time I went to his house to do homework with my hair wet and draped over my shoulders, he'd always reach out to touch it, saying, "Lin Zhao Zhao, your hair smells so good." While doing so, then I'd blush and slap his hand, telling him not to touch it. What if Auntie saw? How old were we when he said that? It was probably that summer of our second year of junior high. Later, when we started high school, I found long hair inconvenient to wash, and I wanted to cut it several times. But Lu Si always stopped me. He'd say, "Why cut it? Long hair looks so nice. If you cut it, I won't walk to and from school with you anymore." I knew he was joking, but I still didn't cut it, because he said it looked good. But now, he's holding a pair of scissors, a very ordinary stationary scissors, with a little rust on the blade, probably pulled out from some drawer. He twirled the scissors in his hand twice, casually, as is spinning a pen. "Will you do it yourself? Or shall I do it?" he asked me. I looked into his eyes. I've been looking at those eyes for 17 years. Ever since I can remember. When he was 2 years old, he fell while chasing a butterfly in the yard, scraping his knee and crying so hard that snot bubbles came out. It was me who dragged him home and had my mom put a band-aid on it. When he was 7, he lost a front tooth and spoke with a lisp. I laughed at him for the entire summer. He was 12 when he first rode a bicycle, taking me down a slope, and we both crashed into the drainage ditch by the roadside, covered in mud. The first thing he did when he got up was ask me if I was hurt. One evening when he was 15, our two families were having a barbecue in the yard. The adults had drunk too much and were playing cards inside, while we sat on the swing, watching the stars. Suddenly, he leaned in, his lips brushing against my ear, his breath warm, his voice low, saying something that kept me awake all night. He said, "Lin Zhao Zhao, I think I might like you." That was the first time he said he liked me. Later, he said it many times. On the sofa in his living room, on the school rooftop, on the path lined with plane trees at the school gate, and on little notes secretly slipped to me during class. I remember every time clearly, every word etched in my mind. But now, he looks at me with the same eyes and says, "Are you going to do it yourself? Or should I?" People around were cheering, their voices rising higher and higher. "Cut it, Brother Lu. You're awesome. Let her learn a lesson." I opened my mouth, but found I couldn't speak. My throat felt like something was blocking it, sour, swollen, and painful, making even swallowing difficult. I didn't cry. My eyes were dry, so dry they felt gritty, like two sunbaked stones, firmly lodged in my eye sockets, aching with every movement. Lu Si waited 3 seconds, and seeing that I didn't react at all, suddenly smiled. That smile felt utterly unfamiliar to me. The curve of his lips was completely different from what I remembered, and his eyes held no light, dark and dull, like the sky at 5 o'clock in the winter afternoon. He took a step forward and grabbed my hair. His strength was immense, pulling me forward so violently that I stumbled. A sharp pain shot through my scalp, as if countless needles had pierced it at once, making my eyes water. But I bit my lip and forced myself to endure it. I remember how clumsy he used to be when he tied my hair, his hands fumbling, unable to wrap the hair tie properly even after 3 attempts. And he even pulled out several of my hairs. When I cried out in pain, he immediately let go, nervously leaning in to check, saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But this time, he didn't let go. The sound of scissors snipping came from behind my head. Snip, then another. Like something shattering. I saw strands of my hair falling to the ground one by one, long and short, landing in the water stains, sticking to the tiles, like a group of dead little black snakes. The whole process lasted only about a minute, but in my perception, that minute stretched out endlessly. So long that I could clearly hear everyone's laughter around me. So long that I could see the meaningful curve of Shen Tingwan's lips. So long that I could count the strands of hair on the ground, though I couldn't actually count them. My mind at that moment desperately wanted to grasp something concrete and real, just to make myself feel like I was still standing on solid ground. Lu Ci finished cutting, took a step back, glanced at me from head to toe, and casually tossed the scissors onto the table. He picked up his phone, took a photo of me, then lowered his head and began operating the screen. All right, he said without looking up. You can go now. I didn't leave. I stood where I was, raising my hand to touch the back of my head. My hair had been cut in a messy way, some parts long, some short, with a few strands sticking up and out, like a feather duster that had been caught in the rain. Where my palm touched felt damp, though I couldn't tell if it was water or something else. Slowly, I lowered my hand, glanced at the hair on the floor, then looked over at Lu Ci. His phone screen was lit up, and I vaguely saw the interface of a short video platform. He was editing a caption, his thumb typing rapidly across the screen. Shen Tingwan jumped down from the bed, moved close to him, tilted her head to look at his screen, and said something softly. Then the two of them laughed together. That laugh was so light, as if afraid someone might hear it, but it clearly pierced into my ears. I bent down and picked up the school bag on the ground. The bag was wet, with a large damp area at the bottom. I shook it off and slung it over my shoulder. As I turned, the sole of my shoe stepped on my own hair, producing a faint, almost inaudible rustling sound. I pushed through the crowd. Some people made way for me, others whistled behind me, and someone shouted, Lin Zhao Zhao, you've got it coming today. I didn't look back, not even for a step, when I stepped out of the dormitory building. The bright sunlight outside made me squint. It was an unusually clear and sunny day. The sky an impossibly blue, with a few lazy white clouds hanging in the air. The roses on campus were in full bloom, a vast expanse of red and pink, and the air was filled with the scent of flowers. I stood on the steps at the entrance of the dormitory building, momentarily dazed by the sun. How could the world still be like this? The flowers were still blooming, the birds still singing, the sunlight still warm and comforting, as if nothing had happened just moments ago. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out and glanced at a tour class group chat. Someone had sent a message, tagging everyone. Look at Lu Ci's post. I'm dying of laughter. Lin Zhao Zhao got his head shaved. Ha ha ha. Below it, there were over a dozen replies, all filled with ha 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 and wow, along with a few memes. I scrolled up and saw the short video Lu Ci had posted. The cover image showed me crouching on the ground, my hair wet and sticking to my scalp, with a large bald patch on the back of my head like a beggar. A striking line of yellow text was added to the cover. The revenge of the childhood friend with no sense of boundaries. The video's view count had already surpassed 5,000 in just 10 minutes. I turned off my phone screen and slipped it back into my pocket. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the sunlight, tugged my backpack straps a little higher, and started walking toward the school gate. Along the way, I ran into a few people I knew. Their gazes toward me varied. Some avoided eye contact. Some were curious. Some boldly looked me up and down. And one little girl even covered her mouth and laughed out loud. As I passed by her, I overheard her companion whisper in a hushed voice. Is that Lin Zhao Zhao? What happened to her hair? I kept walking. When I reached the road lined with plane trees at the school gate, my footsteps suddenly paused for a moment. On the trunk of the third plane tree, 2 names were carved. One was mine. The other was his, connected by a crooked heart in the middle. It was a Friday afternoon in the second semester of our first year of high school. After school, instead of playing basketball, he pulled me here, took a small knife from his pocket, and carved into the bark stroke by stroke. I asked him why he was carving this, saying it was damaging the tree. He said it was called a witness, and that it would be so romantic to come back and see it when we were old and gray. Those 2 lines of carving are still there. The bark has grown over them a bit, making the words somewhat blurry, but if you look closely, you can still make them out. I stared at those 2 lines for about 3 seconds, then looked away. Nothing worth looking at. When I got home, my mom was stir-frying in the kitchen. The range hood roared, and the sound of the spatula clanging against the wok rang out. Hearing the door open, she poked her head out from the kitchen, wearing that faded floral apron, spatula still in hand, and called out to me, "Zhao Zhao's back. Why are you home so early today?" Then she saw my hair. The spatula fell from her hand to the floor. The sound of metal hitting tiles sharp and loud, bouncing twice before finally settling. My mother's face changed in an instant from confusion to shock. From shock to anger. The kind of anger that reminded me of when I was a child and got bullied. And she stormed to the other person's house to demand an explanation. Who did this? Her voice trembled. I placed my school bag next to the shoe cabinet, changed into slippers, and walked into the living room to sit on the sofa. The sofa was made of fabric, beige in color, with a knitted blanket my mom had crocheted herself spread over it. I sat down, curled my legs up, and rested my chin on my knees. Lin Zhao Zhao. My mom came in, her voice rising by 8 octaves. I'm asking you, who did this? Lu Ci. I said. My mother was stunned. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again, like a fish thrown ashore. How close was she to my mom? Let me put it this way. Lu Ci's mom and she were best friends. They had been classmates since elementary school, and later, they both married into the same building in the same neighborhood, living right across from each other. They visited each other more often than they did their own relatives. For as long as I can remember, Lu Ci's mom has called my mom-in-law, although it was said in jest. Everyone took it as a given. The 2 families celebrated the new year together, traveled together, and saved money, saying they would buy a big house together when both children got married. So when my mother heard the name Lu Ci, her face looked as if she had been struck by lightning. Why would he? Mom. I interrupted her, my voice calm, so calm that even I was surprised at myself. I want to take a shower. My mother stood still for a long time, staring at me with her lips pressed into a thin line and her eyes red. She didn't say anything more, then turned and walked into the bathroom. I heard the sound of the faucet turning on, the water heater igniting, and the shower spraying water. After a while, she came out, her eyes even redder than before, but her voice was much calmer. The water's ready. Go ahead and wash up. I walked into the bathroom, closed the door, and stood in front of the mirror. I almost didn't recognize the person in the mirror. The school uniform was crumpled. The collar was askew, revealing a faint red mark on the collarbone. I had no idea when it had been scratched. My hair looked like it had been chewed by a dog. Some strands reached my shoulders, while others clung to my scalp. The back of my head was almost bare, exposing a bluish-white patch of skin, with jagged edges like broken biscuits. There were still wet marks on my face. My eyelashes stuck together in clumps. My lips were dry, peeling, with a row of deep tooth marks since I had just bitten myself. I stared at my reflection in the mirror for a long time. Then I did something. I pulled open the drawer under the sink and took out my dad's clipper. That's the clipper my dad uses to cut his own hair at home. It's been used for many years, and the paint on the clipper has worn off, revealing the silvery white metal underneath. I plugged it in, turned on the switch, and the clipper buzzed and vibrated in my hand. Like an angry wasp. I took a deep breath and pressed the clipper against my scalp. When the first strand of hair fell, my hand trembled a little, but by the third stroke, my hand was steady. I carefully and meticulously shaved off all the uneven hair on my head, leaving not a single strand or an inch behind. Hair clippings fell into the sink, onto the floor, and onto my shoulders, prickling and itching like countless tiny insects crawling. After shaving it all off, I put down the clippers and looked back into the mirror. The person in the mirror looked back at me, bald, with pale blue veins visible on the bluish-white scalp, and a faint scar on the top of the head, left from a childhood fall off a slide. The ears seemed larger than before. And so were the eyes, with deep eye sockets, as if he had lost 10 pounds overnight. I raised my hand and touched the top of my head. The skin under my palm felt smooth and warm, carrying the lingering heat from the clippers. With a texture like an egg just scooped out of a pot, the stubble of hair pricked my palm, tickling. The bald person in the mirror suddenly smiled. Then she said something to herself in the mirror, her voice so soft that it was drowned out by the sound of the shower. So soft that it seemed to be spoken only to herself. Lin Zhao Zhao, you deserve it. After saying this, I took off my clothes and stepped under the shower. Hot water poured down from above, startling me with its heat. Where the water flowed, the skin on my scalp, freshly shaved by the clippers, had a strange sensation, as if every inch of it was relearning how to perceive the world. I stood under the shower for a long time, so long that the hot water in the heater ran out, and the water gradually turned cold. Only then did I turn off the faucet and dry my body and head with a towel. When the towel brushed over the top of my head, the sensation was completely different from before. It used to take so long to dry my hair damp and tangled. I'd have to wrap it in a towel and wring it out several times. Now, just a few quick wipes and it's dry, crisp and clean. Like wiping a basketball. I stood wrapped in a towel, in the gradually dissipating steam, and reached out to wipe the mirror, clearing away the fog to see myself again. Bald. I tilted my head to the left, then tilted it to the right. Actually, it's not that bad looking. My head shape is pretty good round, without any particularly flat or protruding areas. My mom used to always say I have a nice looking head and that I'd look good even with a shaved head. I thought she was just saying that to make me feel better. But now it seemed she was telling the truth. I opened the bathroom door and walked out. My mom was sitting on the living room sofa, with a glass of water in front of her, untouched. Hearing the sound of the door opening, she looked up and saw my shaved head, freezing in place as if struck by a spell. Her mouth slowly fell open, her eyes widened bit by bit, and the remote control in her hand clattered to the floor. Her voice seemed to squeeze out from the back of her throat. Does it look good? I rubbed my shaved head and smiled at her. My mother's tears started falling immediately. She wasn't the type to sob loudly. She just sat there, tears dropping one by one onto her floral apron, spreading into dark, blooming patterns. She wiped her face with her hand, again and again, but couldn't wipe them clean. Finally, she stopped trying, letting the tears stream down her face. Mom. I walked over, crouched in front of her, and looked up at her. Don't cry. I'm not even crying. Those words felt like poking a hornet's nest. My mom suddenly pulled me into her arms, hugging me so tightly that my bare head was pressed against her chest. I smelled the scent of cooking oil and laundry detergent, along with that familiar, comforting smell that only a mother has. Her chin rested on the top of my head, and a stifled sound like the cry of a wounded animal escaped her throat. I'm sorry, Mom, she sobbed. I used to think that kid was good, and I thought it was a blessing for you to be with him. I was blind. Mom, I'm sorry. I was held so tightly by her that I couldn't breathe, but I didn't struggle free. I reached out and wrapped my arms around her waist, burying my face in her chest, feeling her body tremble with sobs. It's okay, Mom, I said, my voice muffled. It's really okay. That night, my dad came home from work, saw my bald head, said nothing, silently finished his meal, silently washed the dishes. and silently smoked 3 cigarettes on the balcony. Then he walked into my room and placed a bank card on my desk. "The money Dad saved for you," he said, his voice a bit hoarse. "I was saving this for your dowry. But now you take it and spend it however you want." I looked at that green bank card. Its surface worn almost white. Clearly an old card that had been used for many years. I know he puts a little bit of his salary into it every month after he gets paid. Sometimes more. Sometimes less. He's been saving for over 10 years and never missed a month. "Dad," I said, "I want to use it to buy a new computer." "Buy it." He said. "I also want to buy a camera." "Buy it. I want to keep the rest of the money and spend it slowly once I get to university." He glanced at me, his expression complex, as if he had a lot to say but couldn't find the words. In the end, he just reached out and patted my smooth, bald head. His palm was rough, covered in calluses. "Hair can grow back," he said. "As long as my daughter is okay, that's all that matters." My nose tingled with emotion, but I held it back. Lying in bed, preparing to sleep, I picked up my phone and took a look. The class group chat was already in chaos, with hundreds of messages flooding in. I didn't bother scrolling through them all and just pulled it to the top. The latest message was sent by Lu Ci. He posted a photo of me with a bald head. Not the one after I shaved it all off, but the previous one with the messy, patchy haircut, accompanied by a caption. "To my childhood sweetheart, Lin Zhao Zhao, thank you for 18 years of companionship. From now on, we go our separate ways, each living our own lives in peace." Someone replied below, "Bro Lu, you're awesome." Someone else replied, "Now that's a real Mandarang to love and hate." Someone replied, "What kind of pathetic simp is Lin Zhao Zhao? She got her head shaved and still didn't make a sound." There was also a message, drowned in the full-screen frenzy, flashing by in an instant. The person who sent the message was the Chinese class representative in our class. A girl who usually didn't talk much, named Su Anren. She only typed 4 words. "You've gone too far." No one replied to her. The message was quickly pushed to the bottom by new ha-ha-has and emojis, disappearing into the flood of information. I stared at those 4 characters for a while, then placed my phone beside the pillow, turned over, and closed my eyes. Sleep came slowly, lying in the darkness. My mind was a mess. Now I heard the click of scissors. Now I saw Shen Tingwan's canvas shoes swaying back and forth. Now I recalled Lu Ci's expressionless face as he took photos. These images boiled like a pot of water, bubbling and churning, making my heart restless. But I didn't cry. Tears were right behind my eyes, like a group of children trapped at the door, desperately trying to push their way out. But I tightly shut the door, refusing to let them out. I knew that if I let the tears fall, everything would be confirmed that I was a pitiful loser abandoned by my childhood friend. Confirmed that I had been utterly broken by this relationship. Confirmed that I was the laughingstock everyone talked about. I can't cry. At least not tonight. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, my phone vibrated again. I was too tired to open my eyes, so I fumbled for the phone and squinted at the screen. It was a text message from an unfamiliar number, with just one sentence. "Lin Zhao Zhao, where is your hair?" I didn't reply. I flipped the phone over and placed it face down on the bed. Then pulled the blanket over my head. The blanket was freshly changed, carrying the faint scent of laundry detergent. Me mom had just washed it today. I slept very soundly that night, without a single dream. When I woke up the next morning, sunlight was already streaming through the gaps in the curtains, painting a golden stripe on the floor. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, instinctively reaching to touch my hair, when my hand met the smooth scalp. I paused for a moment before remembering what had happened the day before. I sat on the bed in a daze for a while, then got up and pulled open the curtains. The sunlight flooded in all at once, making me squint. Down in the courtyard, Aunt Wang was walking her poodle. Uncle Li was heading home with soy milk and fried dough sticks, and Grandma Zhang from the next unit was sitting in her wheelchair, basking in the sun. The world continued to operate as usual, as if nothing had ever changed. After washing up, I opened the wardrobe and rummaged around for a while before pulling out one of my dad's baseball caps. The cap was dark blue, with a slightly worn brim and the logo of some construction company printed on it. I put it on my head, looked at myself in the mirror, and then turned the brim to the back. Wearing a hat on a bald head gives a particularly secure feeling. The cap fits tightly against the scalp, not as slippery as it used to be when I had more hair. Then I went out. When I reached downstairs, I saw Lucy's mother. She lives right across from my house and exercises in the neighborhood every morning. At that moment, she was carrying a grocery basket back home, wearing a red sports jacket with white floral patterns, a pair of pink walking shoes, and her hair permed into small curls, looking full of energy. Seeing me come out of the hallway, her face immediately lit up with a smile, one I knew all too well. Since I was little, she had always smiled at me like that, warmly, as if I were her own daughter. Zhao Zhao. She walked toward me, the celery leaves in her vegetable basket trembling with each step. Where are you off to so early? Oh, why are you wearing a hat? As she spoke, she reached out to take off my hat. Her movements so natural it seemed like the most obvious thing to do. She used to do this often, touching my hair, pinching my cheeks, stuffing food into my hands, and I never guarded myself against her affection. But this time, I instinctively took a step back. Her hand froze midair, and the smile on her face stiffened for a moment. What's wrong? She looked at me, puzzled. Are you feeling unwell? I looked at her face. Her features were very similar to Lucy's, especially when she smiled, the corners of her eyes slightly lifted, carrying an innate cheerfulness and warmth. She is a good person, and she has always been kind to me since I was little. Every New Year, the red envelope she gives me is thicker than the one she gives Lucy. And whenever she returns from a business trip, she always brings a gift for me. But she knows nothing. Her precious son, the one she says has always adored you since childhood, yesterday, in front of everyone, cut my hair, recorded a video, and posted it online for tens of thousands of people to see. And now she stands before me, smiling as she tries to take off my hat, as if nothing ever happened. Auntie, I looked at her, my tone very calm. Did Lucy not tell you? Tell me what? She looked completely bewildered. You should go back and ask him. After saying this, I walked around her and headed towards the entrance of the residential area. Her voice came from behind. This child. Why does he talk so mysteriously? I didn't look back. Walking on the way to school, I passed by that sycamore tree. Sunlight filtered through the gaps in the leaves, casting dappled spots of light on the ground. The name carved into the tree trunk was still there. After a night of wind, the dew on the bark had blurred it even more. I didn't stop moving forward. There were 17 days left until the college entrance exam. 17 days later, I would leave this city. I would go to a place without phoenix trees, get into a school that Lucy couldn't get into, and live a life that had nothing to do with him. I wouldn't fold another paper star, wouldn't take another sip of red bean-flavored soy milk, and wouldn't slip my hands into anyone's pockets on winter mornings. Those hairs, those stars, those foolish words written in the stars, all of them stayed in this May. I pushed down my hat brim and quickened my pace. The sun was already high, shining on my bare scalp hidden beneath the hat, warm and pleasant. Suddenly, I thought baldness wasn't so bad after all. Cool, saves on shampoo, and I could wash my head with just one swipe while washing my face. The thought made me smile involuntarily. After laughing, I found that my heart didn't feel as heavy anymore. It was like the moment I stepped out of the bathroom after showering yesterday. The reflection in the mirror had changed, but it didn't seem so bad. I took out my phone, opened the camera, and took a photo of my bald head. No hat, just smooth and shiny, reflecting a bit of light under the sun. I glanced at the photo, then opened the social media platform that had been flooded with Lucy's short videos. I posted an update, just one line, accompanied by the photo of me with a shaved head, feeling good with a buzz cut clean and fresh. A new beginning. Good luck with the college entrance exam. After posting, I tucked my phone into my pocket, looked up at the school name on the roof of the distant teaching building. The 4 large characters gleaming golden in the sunlight. The smile still lingered at the corner of my mouth. After posting that update, I set my phone to silent, placed it face down on the desk, and opened the math practice exam booklet. The classroom was so quiet that only the faint rustling of pen tips gliding across paper could be heard. Someone in the back row was reciting softly. Footsteps occasionally echoed in the hallway, and sunlight streamed in diagonally through the window, warming my bald head. I kept my head down, working on the problem. It took me 3 tries to finally get the derivative question right. When I looked up and stretched my sore neck, I happened to meet Sue Anren's gaze. She was sitting diagonally in front of me, turning her head to look at me with a cautious, probing gaze in her eyes. When she saw me looking back, she froze for a moment, then quickly turned her head away. Her ears slightly flushed. I lowered my head and continued working on the problems. When the class ended, I packed my bag and prepared to leave. Sue Anren dawdled while packing her things, and just as I reached the door, she suddenly hurried after me. "Lin Zhao Zhao," she called out to me, her voice not loud but clear. I turned back to look at her. She stood in the hallway, carrying a canvas backpack that had faded slightly from washing, her hands gripping the straps tightly. After pressing her lips together several times, she finally spoke. "I saw the post you shared yesterday. I liked it for you," she said. I also forwarded it. I was a bit surprised. Sue Anren has always had a low profile in our class, average to above average grades, soft-spoken, and never involved in any gossip or conflicts. I knew exactly what it meant when she shared my post. It was almost like publicly taking a stand, standing by me amidst the class's laughter. "Thanks," I said. "You're welcome." She shook her head, paused for a moment, then said, "I've always felt that Lucy isn't good enough for you." After saying this, she turned and walked away quickly, as if afraid I would press her further. The canvas shoes made a soft sound on the terrazzo floor, and her ponytail swung back and forth behind her. I watched her back disappear at the stairwell, and an indescribable feeling welled up inside me. Not moved, not warmed, but more like a confirmation, confirming that there are indeed people in this world watching men laughing at me, but truly seeing me as a person. When I got home, I heard the sound of an argument coming from next door before I even entered the door. It's not quite accurate to call it an argument, because there was only one voice. It was Lucy's father's voice, full of vigor, so clear it could be heard through the security door. "Are you fucking out of your mind? Did you even think about the consequences when you did this? What will the girl think? Where will our Lu family's face be?" Then came Lucy's mother's voice, sharp and urgent, with a sob in her tone. "Stop hitting him. The child is about to take the college entrance exam. Can't we talk about this after the exam?" I stood at my own doorstep, keys in hand, not in a hurry to open the door. The noise next door was so loud that the motion-sensing lights in the hallway were triggered and turned on. I heard Lucy say something, his voice low and indistinct, but his tone clearly carried impatience. Then came a loud slap, sharp and solid, as if delivered with full force. "College entrance exam." His father's voice was trembling, whether from anger or something else. "Did you think about the college entrance exam when you did this? You shaved that girl's hair and posted it online. Did you think about how she's supposed to take the college entrance exam? Did you even consider that?" I opened my own door, walked inside, and shut the sound of the argument behind me. My mom was sitting in the living room, a phone in front of her with the screen lit up. She glanced at me, her expression complicated, like she was relieved but also holding something back. "Lucy's father just came by," she said. I put down my school bag and sat beside her. "What did he want?" "To apologize. He brought a lot of things, but I refused to accept them." My mother's voice was calm, but the knuckles of her hand gripping the remote turned white. "He stood at the door and bowed 3 times, saying sorry, saying that kid was out of his mind, and that he would definitely discipline him properly. And then I asked him, 'Did your son delete that video he posted?' I picked up my mom's phone and opened Lucy's account. The video hadn't been deleted. Not only was it not deleted, but the view count has already surpassed 500,000. The comments section has completely exploded. I scrolled down a few pages and saw some content that wasn't there last night. Is this Lucy guy out of his mind? Does anyone know this girl? Is she okay? Forward and spread this to let more people see this scumbag. I'm from the 20th high school. This Lucy was already disciplined once in his second year of high school for fighting and breaking a boy's nose from the neighboring class. It's been revealed that his girlfriend is named Shen Tingwan. Have been together for several months. And she's not a good person either. Shen Tingwan, the one who plays the guzheng. My friend's sister is in the same art exam class as her and said she's two-faced. She once broke a competitor's strings. And it was only discovered after checking the surveillance footage. Damn. Is this really that shocking? My hand froze on the screen. My mom leaned in to take a look and gasped sharply. The comments kept piling up, adding dozens more each time I refreshed. Someone posted a photo of Lucy's disciplinary file from his second year of high school for fighting. Someone wrote a long article about Shen Tingwan breaking someone else's violin strings during art exam prep class. And even someone tagged the official Weibo accounts of the universities they each applied to, demanding that the schools review students with such character issues. My mom's voice trembled slightly. What's going on? I wanted to know what was going on too. I opened the class group chat, and the atmosphere had completely changed. The ha and Lu Gu is awesome that were flooding the screen yesterday have completely disappeared, replaced by various screenshots and forwarded links. Someone posted screenshots of the negative comments under Lucy's account in the group. Another shared Shen Tingwan's dark history. And others were discussing how this incident had already been picked up and spread by marketing accounts. All members, please don't speak recklessly. This situation escalating won't benefit anyone. The class monitor sent a message. Someone replied below. Now you realize it's bad. Why didn't you think about that when you were laughing yesterday? Someone replied. I thought it was too much at the time, but I didn't have the nerve to say anything. Someone replied. Someone has already posted the video to the Education Bureau's reporting platform. I looked at these messages, said nothing, and left the group chat. My phone vibrated again. It was a private message from Su Anren. Lin Zhao Zhao. Are you okay? I'm fine. I replied. Did you see the trending topics? My heart tightened, and I opened the trending topics page. High school senior girl bullied by having her head shaved. This topic is trending at number 32 on the hot search list. Clicking in. The top post is from a local news account, featuring my photo. It's a screenshot from the cover of the video that Lucy posted. The caption reads, according to netizens, a senior girl at a key high school was publicly humiliated by a male classmate who shaved her head. The incident was recorded and uploaded as a short video, leading to widespread sharing. The boy also captioned the post with, "This is the karma of a childhood friend who has no sense of boundaries." The video is still circulating, and the girl involved has not yet responded. The reposts have already exceeded 20,000. There are over 30,000 comments. The top comment reads, "Is this guy even human?" The second most popular comment says, "What kind of grudge or hatred could drive someone to cut a girl's hair like this, and then post it online? Is he mentally disturbed?" The third top comment, "Childhood sweethearts. More like childhood enemies. I'd say, after over a decade of feelings, to end up like this, it's truly heartbreaking." The fourth top comment, "Has anyone dug into this guy's background?" My fingers trembled slightly. It wasn't anger, nor was it fear. It was a strange sensation, like taking a sip of ice water on a freezing winter day. The chill sliding from my throat all the way down to my stomach, jolting me wide awake. I never thought things would turn out like this. When I posted that update, I just wanted people who know me to know that I, Lin Zhao Zhao, wasn't defeated by this incident. I never intended to make a big deal out of it, never thought about trending on social media, and certainly never wanted to ruin Lucy and Shen Tingwan's reputations. But that's how things are now. The phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Is this Lin Zhao Zhao? This is a reporter from the Urban Evening News. We'd like to interview you about what happened at your school yesterday. I'm sorry. I won't give an interview. I hung up the phone. Then came a second unknown call, followed by a third. A fourth. I simply turned off my phone. The living room fell silent. My mother sat on the sofa. Her eyes red. But she didn't cry. She looked at me. Her lips moved. And finally she just said, "Are you hungry? Let me make you a bowl of noodles." Good. She got up and went to the kitchen. The range hood started humming again. And the sounds of a spatula, boiling water, and noodles being added to the pot blended together, making me feel at ease, no matter how chaotic the world outside may be. Everything in this house is still running as usual. My mom is cooking noodles. My dad will be off work soon. The pot hose on the windowsill is still growing. And there's half a watermelon left in the fridge. I'm sitting on the floor, leaning against the sofa, looking up at the ceiling. The skin on my bald head is pressed against the cool fabric of the sofa. And the sensation is strange slippery. The doorbell rang. My mom pokes her head out from the kitchen, still holding chopsticks. Who is it? I'll get it. I stood up and walked to the door, peeking through the peephole. Standing outside was Lu Ci. This was the first time I had seen him since I shaved my head. He stood at my doorstep, wearing a gray t-shirt, his hair disheveled, with a clear red mark on his left cheek likely from his father hitting him. He lowered his eyes. His shoulders slumped. And he looked like a dog drenched in the rain. I opened the door but didn't undo the security chain, leaving only a palm-width gap. He saw my bald head and froze for a moment. That moment of hesitation lasted only a fraction of a second. But I caught it. A complex expression flickered in his eyes, hard to tell whether it was shock, guilt, or something else. His Adam's apple rolled up and down. And when he spoke, his voice was hoarse, as if he hadn't drunk water in days. "Zhao Zhao." I didn't say anything. Just looked at him. I came to apologize to you." He lifted the bag he was carrying. It was full of fruits like oranges, apples, and bananas. The plastic bag bulging with contents. "I know I did something terrible. I'm sorry. Lu Ci. I interrupted him. He stopped, looking at me, his eyes carrying an expression I had never seen on his face before. Not regret, not guilt, but more like fear. What is he afraid of? Afraid that I won't forgive him? Or afraid of something else? "Did you see the trending topic?" I asked. His face changed color. That change was subtle, but it didn't escape my eyes. Of course. I've watched him for 17 years. I know every expression, every little gesture of his like the back of my hand. The corner of his mouth twitched. The corners of his eyes drooped slightly, and his nostrils flared a little. This was a reaction he only had when he was extremely tense. "Zhao Zhao, I'll delete that video right away. I really will delete it right away. Can you?" He took a step forward. The security chain tightened, blocking his shoulder. "Can you make a statement or something? Saying the situation isn't as serious as it's being spread online. That it was just a joke between you and me. Just fooling around." I repeated those 3 words. His mouth opened, then closed again, pouring a basin of cold water over me from head to toe. "And you call that fooling around?" My voice was very calm, as if stating a fact that had nothing to do with me. "You cut my hair strand by strand with scissors. And you call that fooling around? You filmed a video, added captions, posted it online for tens of thousands of people to see. And you call that fooling around?" Lu Ci's face turned red and then pale. "Then tell me." I looked at him and said word by word. "Who was the one who said, the retribution of a childhood friend with no sense of boundaries yesterday? Was it you? What terrible thing did I do to deserve such retribution?" He didn't answer. The sound of the range hood stopped. My mom came out of the kitchen carrying 2 bowls of noodles. And upon seeing the scene at the door, she paused for a moment. She placed the bowls on the dining table and walked over to stand behind me. "Xiao Ci." My mom's voice was cold, something I had never heard before when she spoke to Lu Ci. "Go back, Auntie." Lu Ci's voice was choked with tears. truly filled with tears. Not faked. Auntie, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please let Zhao Zhao forgive me. Our families. Relationship between the two families. My mother's voice suddenly rose. Now you remember the relationship between the two families. Did you remember it when you cut her hair yesterday? Did you remember it when you posted the video? Lu Ci was speechless. Pushed to the edge. Just then, the door next door opened. Lu Ci's mother rushed out. Wearing a housecoat. Her hair uncombed. Tear stains on her face. And threw herself over as soon as she saw the commotion at my doorstep. Shu Qin. Shu Qin. She called out my mother's name. Her voice sharp and trembling. Old sister. All the wrongs are our Xiao Xi's fault. I'll kowtow to you on his behalf. Okay. Please let Zhao Zhao show mercy. If this continues, Xiao Xi's future will be completely ruined. He still has to take the college entrance exam. He still has to go to university. She said it and actually knelt down. My mother's face instantly turned very unpleasant. She took a step to the side. Not accepting her. Get up, my mother said. Lu Ci's mother knelt on the ground. Tears streaming down her face. Clutching my mother's pant leg and refusing to let go. The motion sensor light in the hallway lit up again. The neighbor's door cracked open a sliver. Then quietly closed. Shu Qin, we've known each other for so many years. Just for the sake of our sisterhood. Please let Xiaozi off this time. She was crying so hard that her makeup had smudged. Black mascara streaking under her lower eyelids, making her look utterly disheveled. My mother looked down at her, her lips moving slightly. At that moment, the elevator doors opened. My dad stepped out of the elevator, carrying a briefcase in his hand and wearing a work uniform that had been washed to a faded hue. Seeing the scene at the doorstep, he paused for a moment, his gaze sweeping from Lu Ci's face to his mother kneeling on the ground, then finally settling on me. He didn't say a word, just nodded at me, then walked around the group, took out his keys, unlocked the door, and went inside. As he passed by me, he reached out and gently patted my bald head. The noodles are getting cold. Let's eat first, he said. I murmured and turned to close the door. Zhao Zhao. Lu Ci suddenly reached out and pressed against the door panel. His strength was great. And the door wouldn't close. Are you really so heartless? We grew up together, didn't you have any feelings at all? I looked at his anxious face and suddenly felt a strange sense of unfamiliarity. His eyebrows, eyes, nose, mouth, every feature was incredibly familiar to me, yet when combined, they seemed to form someone else entirely. Not the one who held my hand tightly in the dead of winter. Not the one who carved our names into the plane tree. Not the one who whispered in my ear, I think I might like you. That was just someone rushing to put out the fire after everything had been exposed. Lu Ci, let me explain something to you. He froze. Did your father teach you when you were young? When you make a mistake, you admit it. When you get hit, you stand straight. What you did yesterday wasn't a joke. Wasn't a momentary impulse, it was deliberate. Public humiliation. You chose to do it in the dormitory because you wanted everyone to see. You filmed it and posted it online because you wanted even more people to see. You even added text, carefully crafting a headline. My voice isn't loud, but every word is clear. You made me crouch on the ground, humiliated and exposed to everyone's laughter, while your Shen Tingwan sat on the edge of the bed, swinging her legs and enjoying the scene. When you did these things, did you ever think about how much it hurt me? Did you ever consider how I would face everyone? Did you ever think that I am also a person with dignity? Lu Ci's hand slid down from the door panel. Now that things have blown up, you finally feel the pain. But Lu Ci, what hurts you isn't the fact that you hurt mates being criticized online. It's the fear of ruining your own future. You came to apologize to me not because you think you were wrong, but because you think the price is too high. He opened his mouth, but not a single word came out. If apologies were useful, what would we need the police for? I looked into his eyes. What you did is more than just a moral issue. It's school bullying. You publicly posted a video of a minor being humiliated online, which constitutes spreading violent information. These things can't be just wiped away with a simple, "I'm sorry." Lu Si's face turned completely pale. Lu Si's mother, kneeling on the ground, was also stunned. Tears hung on her face, and her expression shifted from pleading to terror. "Zhao Zhao, you're not going to call the police, are you?" Her voice trembled. I didn't answer. I closed the door. The sound of the security door closing was dull and decisive. The cries and pleas from outside were cut off, becoming vague and distant. I leaned against the door for a moment, took a deep breath, then walked to the dining table and sat down. The noodles had already clumped a bit, so my mom added another spoonful of hot soup. Steaming and fragrant. My dad sat across from me and had already started eating. The slurping sound of his noodles exactly the same as usual. "Dad. Huh. You're right." I picked up a mouthful of noodles with my chopsticks. "Hair can grow back if it's gone." He glanced at me, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly. My mother sat down beside me, picked up her chopsticks only to set them down again, glanced at me several times, and finally couldn't help but ask, "Zhao Zhao, when you mentioned calling the police, was that for real? Or were you just trying to scare them?" I took a bite of the noodles. They were cooked just right, neither too soft nor too firm. The tomato and egg sauce my mother made was perfectly seasoned, just the way I've grown up eating it. I was just stating a fact. I swallowed the noodles and looked up at her. Not every "I'm sorry" needs to be answered with "it's okay." The next day was Sunday. I turned on my phone, and a flood of messages poured in. The trending topic jumped from 32nd to 11th place, with the hashtag "high school girl bullied by hair shaving" surpassing 300 million views. Several major media outlets published related reports, all using consistent, stern language, employing keywords like school bullying, violent humiliation, and online dissemination. The Education Bureau issued a notice stating that an investigation team has been formed and the matter will be dealt with seriously. The official WeChat account of the university Lu Si applied to was flooded with tens of thousands of comments, all demanding that the school carefully consider the admission issue. The school Shen Tingwan applied to was not spared. Netizens dug up every detail of her art exam class incident, and some even found surveillance video screenshots from that year. The class group chat fell into silence. Since last night, no one had sent a single message, not even an emoji. At noon, Sue Anren sent me a link. "Take a look at this." I clicked on it and saw it was a video. The uploader was a sophomore from our school, who shared her experience of being isolated by Shen Tingwan during her freshman year. Shen Tingwan is exactly that kind of person. The girl in the video wore a mask, revealing only her eyes, and her voice trembled slightly. "She's really good at pretending one thing to your face, another behind your back." When I first started high school, I was assigned to the same dorm as her. She looked down on me for being country, and because my family is from a rural area, so she turned the whole dorm against me. The worst time, she poured ink on my bed, completely ruining my bedding. When I told the teacher, they didn't believe me, saying someone as outstanding as Shen Tingwan would never do such a thing. The video's view count surpassed 1 million in just 2 hours. Someone commented below, "What kind of powerful background does Shen Tingwan have? How can she get away with so much wrongdoing without anyone stepping in?" It didn't take long for someone to dig it up. Shen Tingwan's uncle is a mid-level official at the Municipal Education Bureau. The reason she had escaped trouble several times after being reported was because her uncle had pulled strings behind the scenes. The whistleblower directly released internal documents and work photos, leaving no room for doubt. At 3 p.m., the Education Bureau's official Weibo account posted a second notice. Shen Tingwan's uncle had been suspended for investigation. Shen Tingwan, suspected of school bullying, had her eligibility for the college entrance exam that year revoked, and further disciplinary actions would be announced later. At 4 in the afternoon, Lu Si's account finally deleted that video, but it was already too late. The video had been downloaded, screen recorded, and reposted by countless people, making its deletion irrelevant. He posted an apology statement, writing over 1,000 words in a lengthy and elaborate manner, claiming he was young and ignorant, acted impulsively, and sincerely repented, pleading for everyone to give him a chance to turn over a new leaf. The top comment underneath had only one sentence. Did you think about giving Lin Zhaozhao a chance when you posted the video? He didn't reply. In the evening, the homeroom teacher sent a message in the class group chat. There will be an online parent-teacher meeting at 7:30 tonight. And all students and parents must attend. At 7:30, my mom and I sat in front of the computer. The video conference was packed with people. I saw many familiar faces: the class monitor, the academic committee member, the sports committee member, the representatives for each subject, and those who had held up their phones to film me in the dormitory yesterday. Their expressions varied. Some avoided eye contact, others looked nervous, and a few pretended to be completely calm. Lu Ci's profile picture was also there, but his camera was off. Next to his name was a red microphone disabled icon. The homeroom teacher cleared his throat, his expression as serious as if he were about to announce the college entrance exam results. Parents and students, today's emergency meeting is called regarding a serious violation of school rules and discipline that occurred on campus the day before yesterday. He paused, his gaze sweeping over each face on the screen. After investigation and evidence collection, the school has determined that the physical harm and personal insult inflicted by student Lu Ci on student Lin Zhaozhao, as well as the act of filming the process and uploading it online, are clear in fact and severe in nature. Messages began scrolling in the chat box on the screen. The school has decided, after deliberation, first, student Lu Ci will be placed on probation, and all his eligibility for awards and honors will be revoked. Second, the 12 students who participated as bystanders will receive a formal reprimand. Third, the disciplinary facts regarding student Lu Ci will be recorded in his college entrance examination comprehensive quality evaluation file. The chat window exploded. Comprehensive quality evaluation file. Isn't that a file that follows you for life? My goodness. Recording files at this critical moment. Lu Ci is completely finished. Are we being criticized too? I just happened to glance at it. Why did you do it in the first place if you knew this would happen? Weren't you all having fun when you were filming the video? The homeroom teacher raised her voice to drown out the noise. Quiet. The screen fell silent for a moment. Parents. The school has made this decision after careful consideration, the teacher said gravely. With the college entrance exam approaching, we understand your anxiety and pressure. But this cannot be an excuse for tolerating school violence. Lu Ci's actions have violated relevant laws and regulations, and the school will cooperate with the education authorities and the public security organs to further investigate and handle the matter. The moment the words Public Security Bureau appeared, the chat box on the screen exploded once again. They called the police. Could they be detained? Where's Lu Ci? Lu Ci, say something. Lu Ci's profile picture flashed once, and then left the meeting. Immediately after, Lu Ci's father's profile picture also disappeared. An eerie silence fell over the meeting room. The homeroom teacher adjusted his glasses, sighed, and continued. Also, regarding the issue with Shen Tingwan, the Education Bureau has already intervened in the investigation. The outcome should be clear to everyone by now. No one spoke. The chat box fell silent as well. Finally, the homeroom teacher's gaze, through the screen, turned toward me. I'd like to say a few words to Lin Zhaozhao. Everyone turned to look at me. My mother squeezed my hand tightly. Student Lin Zhaozhao, the school deeply regrets the harm you have suffered. Your strength and composure have earned the admiration of all teachers. The school will do everything possible to ensure you can smoothly take the college entrance examination. If you need any help, please feel free to contact me or any teacher at any time. I nodded. Also, the homeroom teacher hesitated for a moment. Student Lin Zhaozhao, regarding the settlement request made by Mr. Lu Ci's family. Teacher. I began to speak. Everyone perked up their ears. My stance has always been clear. Whatever the law decides, we follow. Whatever the school regulations stipulate, we enforce. I don't need an apology. Nor do I need compensation. I only hope this incident can make everyone understand one thing. You can dislike someone. You can draw a clear line with someone. But you cannot use insults to justify your choices. That's not cool, it's malicious. The meeting room fell silent for a full 5 seconds. Then, Sue Anren's microphone suddenly lit up. Her voice was soft but firm. Lin Zhao Zhao. I support you. The second microphone lit up. It was our class's labor committee member, a usually quiet boy. I also support Lin Zhao Zhao. I wasn't there the day before yesterday. If I had been, I wouldn't have let that happen. The third microphone lit up. The fourth. The fifth. More and more microphones lit up. More and more people spoke. And their voices gradually merged into a wave. Those who were laughing just the day before yesterday. Some lowered their heads. Some turned off their cameras. And some typed line after line of "I'm sorry" in the chat box. I turned off my microphone. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I felt it no longer mattered. Whether they apologized or not. It was all in the past for me. That hair will never grow back on my head. And the person holding the scissors will never return to my past. My life is still long. And I can't let myself get stuck in this afternoon in May. The online parent-teacher conference ended. My mom closed her laptop and glanced at me. Feel better? She asked me. I thought for a moment. Sort of. She raised an eyebrow. Pretty good. Huh. I smiled. I'm not living just to get even. My mom stared at me for a long time, then suddenly reached out and ruffled my bald head. She rubbed it hard, her palm warm, making my whole head shake like a rattle. Her eyes sparkled, but her mouth was smiling. All right, she said. My daughter has grown up. Lying in bed at night, I received the last message from Sue Anren. Lin Zhao Zhao. Lu Ci just posted a moment on social media, saying he will turn himself in tomorrow. I stared at these words for a while. The wind started blowing outside. And the leaves of the plane trees rustled loudly. The plane tree with 2 names carved into it must be swaying in the wind as well. When the sun rises tomorrow, those leaves will still be there. And the 2 lines of carvings will still be there too. But it will no longer be a thorn in my heart. I turned over and sent Sue Anren a message. Got it. Go to sleep. We have class tomorrow. I turned off my phone and closed my eyes. The feeling of the bald head against the pillow was still slippery. And I wasn't fully used to it yet. But that's okay. I'll get used to it gradually. As my dad said, hair can grow back if it's gone. As for the rest, some things, once gone, are gone forever and don't need to return. The wind outside the window gradually died down. I fell asleep.